We're recording. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. Glad you could be with us. Today, we're going to be talking about the Ark Angel Alliance. And so this is a new initiative here in Arkansas. You'll learn much more about it as far as angel investing is concerned, membership, sponsorships, why it started, why you should get involved, and all your other questions that you may have. Before we jump into all that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors of all of our community programs, Wright Lindsay Jennings, Frost Accounting Firm, Simmons Bank, and the Little Rock Regional Chamber. They all support all of our efforts and initiatives throughout the year. So we're extremely grateful for their support and continued efforts to support entrepreneurship and workforce development. Also, if you're new to the Venture Center, hello, thanks for being with us. We have several programs throughout the year that we conduct, all with the focus, like I mentioned, on entrepreneurship and workforce development. And so you can always go to our website or our Facebook page or any social media channels or sign up for our newsletter to learn more about those. A couple that I want to mention that are coming up this Friday, we're kicking off a new series that we're really excited about called VC Health. This is a new mental health series. So once a month at the end of the month, the final Friday of every month at noon, we're going to talk about the state of mental health and really get into the fine-tune and nitty-gritty parts of it, not just an overall piece, which is what you're going to learn about this Friday. But for example, the second one's going to be an employer toolkit, what employers and managers and people that oversee others really need to know to spot signs and symptoms of mental health issues and how to address those. We're going to take a deep dive and look into relationships, spouses, partners, children, PTSD. We're going to explore all the different avenues and verticals with mental health because it's such a large and encompassing piece. And we know the pandemic has really, enhanced all these issues. So we really want to address, what we know is an issue, especially with mental health and entrepreneurship. So we're excited for folks to join in that and be a part of that conversation. Again, that's this Friday, the 29th. We also have another PPP updates coming up February 5th. Edward Haddock, a few CPAs from Frost, some lenders from Simmons and the Arkansas Capital Corporation are going to be with us to answer questions about all the new updates regarding PPP grants and loans. So again, that's February 5th. You can come with your questions and have those answered. And then we also have a great VC workshop with Stoneward's Dana Berry, who's going to come in and talk about PR and implementation and why that's important. And that's February 9th. Again, we have a whole host of other programs going on. You can always find those on Facebook, social media channels, our website, or that newsletter. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let our panelists introduce themselves. We've got a great panel today to talk more about the Ark Angel Alliance, but I'm going to let them take a brief moment to introduce themselves. I'll start with Grace. Grace?
Yeah, and Ashley, thank you so much for having us today. I really appreciate the opportunity. We're excited to talk about angel investing in the Ark Angel Alliance. But for those of you that haven't got to meet, my name is Grace Rains, and I'm the Executive Director with Ark Angel Alliance.
Awesome. Up next is Alese Stroud.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you. I am the current chair of the board of the Ark Angel Alliance and an early stage angel investor myself, as well as an entrepreneur.
Fantastic. And then Cory?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Cory Davis. I'm with a company here called CTEH, an environmental consulting company. And I joined this year the Arkansas Angel Alliance and am speaking just as a member to give you guys perspective from a new member's perspective.
Awesome. Again, thank you all for being with us today. And we'll go ahead and jump into questions. But obviously, if anyone attending here on Zoom or on Facebook Live, if you've got a question, feel free to use that chat feature. You can ask your question there or raise your hand, unmute yourself, and you can ask your question that way. But I want to start with Grace. So Ark Angel Alliance is relatively new. I think it's been around roughly a year, right before the pandemic hit. So I want you to give a brief overview of the Ark Angel Alliance, discussing the organization and its goals and objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. So we're a relatively new group. We're almost at the 1 year mark. And essentially we're the state's only active angel network. And our mission is twofold. We work to support active investment in startup companies, by identifying high potential deals and giving preference to, but not limiting to, Arkansas affiliated deals. And then our second part of our mission is to support angel investors through development opportunities that support sound investment decisions and then making investor connections. And so essentially we just support those investors and the investments. But we recruit and receive applications from startup companies that are seeking funding. And then our members and board review those deals. And each month we have about 2 companies come to our member meetings and they pitch for funding. If there's significant interest based on those pitches, then we take them through what we call kind of a due diligence process to dive in further before our members make decisions. And so the way, an angel network works is our members make individual investment decisions. So one member can decide to invest, 10 members can decide to invest, hopefully, not no members, but, we have individual members making decisions on whether or not they choose to invest in specific companies. In addition to that, we have what we call investor discussions, and that's kind of that building our investing muscle, essentially, where we have discussions around everything from new types of investment models to picking the brains of experienced investors to cap table analysis. So we just do those on a variety of topics. But at the end of the day, we're just a group of investors and business leaders that are committed to, growing the Arkansas economy by, capitalizing those startup companies in our region and throughout the state, and then, providing investment opportunities and hopefully returns at the end of the day. But that's us in a little nutshell.
That's a great overview. Thanks for clarifying that. And with that, I want to turn to Alese. I know Alese as a mentee, a mentor, an investor. She knows all about the entrepreneurial community here in Arkansas. So this is a great question for Alese. I want you to talk a little bit about the current climate of angel investing here in Arkansas, and also the importance of an organization like the Ark Angel Alliance here in the state.
Thanks, Ashley. I feel like it's a really important thing to have a local angel group helping to provide cash for all those companies that you guys are developing at the Venture Center and around the state. Even though Angel Investing Arkansas is, relatively young, it still fuels the creations of jobs in our state as well as economic growth. So that's why I think this is important. It's also important because it gives people an opportunity to make their own investments decisions in a way that the funds do not typically. And I find that building relationships with other investors and getting the education really fuels my energy and excitement about making investments. And I feel like that's kind of true at large. Around the state, we've had a number of other angel funds and what you call micro VC funds. There's been funds for Arkansas Future, Gravity, Tonic, and the Cadron organizations. And finally, the Ark Angel Alliance, which you can tell I'm excited about. And among those groups, we've already had some really bright spots, like the recap on RevUnit and Movista. We've had exits from Rockfish and Atlas, which is really exciting to the investor community. And we have some companies that are poised to do the same thing and are on a strong trajectory, like Aptigee, AcreTrader, and now DX. So we need really a lot more of excited angel investors, and we constantly push for that. Since I see James on the screen, I'd like to give a shout out to him. He's chairman of the board at Ark Angels. No, that's me. I'm sorry. He's chairman of the board at the Venture Center, and he helped found both the Funds for Arkansas Future Funds and Ark Angels. James, would you like to unmute and add a few words?
Yeah, thank you, Alese. On Ashley's question about the status of angel investing here in Arkansas, it has been going on for quite a while, and we've seen some outstanding companies. I think the opportunity is really larger right now than it's been. If you look at the number of companies that we're seeing applying to the Ark Angel Alliance, there's some really high quality companies coming in there. the entrepreneurial startups, 20 years ago when we started, Fund for Arkansas's Future, where, we were picking through just a few companies, and it took a while to get those funds invested. But now we're seeing more and more companies that are really quite investable. And, the neat thing about investing in these startup technology companies is you're going to have some that aren't going to make it. And you're going to have some that are going to make it, but you're going to have some that are going to make it really big, and they're going to offset, those that that didn't do so well. So it's a huge opportunity for that investing. But I think the status for angel investing in these Arkansas companies is really good right now. So thanks, Alese.
Great, thanks for answering that, James and Alese. Want to turn to Cory, who, as he mentioned, is a member of the Ark Angel Alliance. And like you said, share your perspective on what it is like to be an angel investor and why you chose to be involved in the Ark Angel Alliance.
Thanks, Ashley. So yeah, I started this past year with no real experience in angel investing at all. And I just love business and I love entrepreneurship. I love Arkansas. So was looking for different ways to engage all of those. And I found the Arkansas Angel Alliance online, reached out and started getting involved. What I learned quickly is you get a lot of exposure to a lot of deals that are people looking for funding. The Alliance has great software tools that allows us access to get in and see in pretty good detail all the deals that we're looking at. As a group, we kind of select the deals that we're most interested in. And then Grace and the team pull those deals to the forefront, ask the founders and the entrepreneurs that are starting those businesses to come present to us as a group. Every month we have a couple of presentations. We hear about the businesses, we grade them as a group, and then those who choose to invest have an opportunity to join in and really take a deep dive in the organizations. We come together and form deal teams, teams that basically lead the due diligence. I've found probably as much value there as in finding the deals because I don't have the experience. I don't know the due diligence process. And so you partner with people that know a lot about reviewing contracts and reviewing the business, interviewing the founders, interviewing the employees, interviewing the customers, and learning about their business. It's been really, really neat to take those deep dives. And what I've learned from other members of the Arkansas Angel Alliance has been super valuable to me. I mean, the membership are business owners in Arkansas, they're scientists in Arkansas, they're lawyers, entrepreneurs themselves. So getting to play on everyone's expertise as a part of the deal team has been real valuable.
Thank you for that insight. And Cory, you talked about how it's a learning experience. And so I want Grace to expand in this next question on, it's not for us, it can be for a seasoned investor that's made multiple deals, but it's also for those that are looking to get their feet wet and really understand the process of what it's like to be an angel investor. What are you looking for and what to invest in? So Grace, can you expand on what it means to be an accredited investor, because you need to be an accredited investor to invest in these companies, and also talk a little bit more about the membership and sponsorship and the difference between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Cory hit the nail on the head there that, you don't have to have investing experience in order to join the Ark Angel Alliance, but you do, to your point, Ashley, have to be an accredited investor. And so to keep it kind of high level, accredited investor is a term that's used to describe someone who can essentially invest in unregistered securities, because that's what we're talking about here. So it's essentially established by just satisfying these certain requirements designated through the SEC. And so, for an individual, that looks like an annual income for the past 2 years of over $200,000 or more, or assets of $1 million outside of a primary residence. And so that's kind of the individual requirements in order to be an accredited investor. There's other entities that, can get you accredited investor status if you're, investing with affiliation through another, investment vehicle or things like that. But essentially those are the individual requirements. And so we do require that for all of our members. From a membership standpoint, we have individual memberships that include you, and then it can also include your spouse or another family member. We have some members that have included their adult children to help introduce them into the world of angel investing so they can dip their toe in the water. And so that can be a benefit of joining in as an individual member. And we also have group memberships for larger entities, and those are for 4 seats or 4 members to join in together for, if you have an entity that's looking at investing. But then, as you mentioned, we also have opportunities for sponsors, for those that believe in the mission and the work that we're doing. And then, of course, there are benefits of sponsorship. So I'm more than happy to discuss membership and sponsorships anytime, any place, with anyone that's interested in learning more about memberships and sponsorships and how to get involved in the organization. But essentially, there's no true accreditation process to go through to become an accredited investor. We do have a little bit of a process to become a member, but it's really just those SEC regulations that kind of designate whether or not you're an accredited investor. There's no experience requirement there.
And that's good to know, because one of the questions in the chat was, is there some type of certification process you have to go through? You have to be vetted, I would imagine. You have to check those things, but no, there's no certification. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no, and it being the term accredited investor, it's like a little misleading, but it's really just an SEC term for you to meet those designated requirements. So like I said, that those individual requirements are really the ones that you look at for individual investors. You can get into the crazy regulations and the nitty-gritty of other ways to become a true accredited investor, but there is no true accreditation process.
Okay.
I wish they would change the word. We can call it something else. We'll just make up our own.
Yeah, that works. And then Alese, I wanted to turn to you. We've actually gone through these questions pretty quickly. So if there's any additional comments you'd like to make, or if questions are coming up in the audience, feel free to pose those questions in the chat, or feel free to expand on some of these topics. Alese, want to turn to you a little bit on some of the benefits. We've heard about how it's great for learning if you're just starting out but want to learn more. But what are some additional benefits of being part of this alliance?
Well, I want to say first that I'm really pleased to hear from Cory that we're achieving some of those benefits and that people actually recognize that's what we're doing. So thanks, Cory. The general checklist of benefits is, first, we give you opportunity to see some high potential deal flow. It's mostly from Arkansas companies, but we do occasionally, when we find something we like, bring companies in from outside. That deal flow has already been vetted to a certain extent. All of our members have the opportunity to help vet those companies, so they get to vote on who presents to us. Education and opportunity to engage with other members is a huge thing. In addition to our regular meetings, we also have discussion groups that meet once a month, or mine meets twice. And that's really a lot of fun. You get to discuss interesting topics, hear about other investors' perspectives, and you get to make new friends, which is, always highly valuable for me. My group kind of functions as a book club. Right now we're reading The Startup Community Way and discussing it chapter by chapter. And thanks to Grace's initiative, we actually got to hear from Brad Feld last week, who's the author of The Startup Community Way. That was a really interesting discussion. So that's another benefit, that you get to hear for some widely acclaimed, experienced investors. Just before Christmas, we got to hear from Nathan Gray, who was incredibly funny. He's got this dry English wit. But he is the premier angel investor in Scotland. So he talked to us about exits and some research they'd done, which was highly educational. We also get discounts on a number of educational opportunities from the national level Angel Capital Association. So I'm enrolled right now in their Angel University, which covers a huge range of angel investing topics. And so I'm hoping when I get done going through that I'll better understand the nuances of some things that James and Ramsey and the more experienced investors talk about. And we're looking forward post-COVID to actually being able to meet in person over dinner and drink some wine together and really get to know each other.
Absolutely. And it looks like we've got a comment. Talk more about the companies that have come through the program. What's the criteria for the companies presenting to the group?
That's a great question. So essentially, the companies, we look at anything from pre-seed, pre-revenue companies all the way through like a Series A round. We try and give a variety of investment opportunities to our members. And so we look at companies from a variety of verticals, a variety of different types of companies, everything from medical devices to software as a service companies, to just, a new business model. So there's really no requirement from a vertical standpoint. There's no requirement from a raise size. We are an angel network. So once you get into that Series B and higher level raises, that's just not something that we, can get a significant portion of a cap table to make it really, a beneficial thing for us to bring. But we want to bring a variety of investments to the group. So, my recommendation to founders is to just reach out. If they're interested in applying to Ark Angel Alliance and they're not sure that they're a good fit, reach out. I'm happy to talk with them, look through it. The application process is pretty easy. We use a application called ProSeeder, which a lot of other angel networks use. And so they can actually copy over their application if they've applied before, so it can be pretty easy. But after they apply, we go through and kind of vet, and those that don't make sense, we usually reach out and let them know, that we won't be accepting their application to go forward. But it's a case by case basis, and happy to discuss with any entrepreneur looking for funding.
That's awesome. And then can you give...
James wanted to expand
on
that.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, James.
Yeah, if I could just add on it, I think another characteristic of the companies that apply or they need to have the potential for fast and large growth because they have to be able to get to a point that they can have an exit that brings significant value to the investor. So that's also kind of a criteria. And the way you get selected to present is the members vote in that ProSeeder, and then the board, along with Grace, goes through and picks out of those lists each month the ones that look like they're the best possibility that meet the interest of our members.
Thanks for clarifying that. Grace, can you talk a little bit more, go into a little bit more detail about the process of becoming a member? Say you're interested in being an angel investor that's part of this group. Can you walk through the steps, starting at the website maybe, or reaching out and on the way?
Yeah, so we have a simple interest form on the website you can fill out. It just has some general information about you. And that kind of starts the process. After that, we do have to go through a quick board approval, and then we, get you onboarded. If they're, if members we have interested members, I normally have a pretty brief phone call with them just to kind of walk them through what membership looks like, what the benefits are, kind of how our process works to make sure it's a good fit for them. And so, anyone can reach out to me directly to do that, or if you fill out that interest form on the website, it's arkangelalliance.org. You can go to become a member, and it's a pretty quick process. We try and make it quick and painless, but make sure we provide information on the front end so everyone's aware of how the process works. I also saw a question in the chat about some of our success stories. So right now, our portfolio companies are Vascugenics. So since we're a relatively new angel network, that's our one portfolio company right now. We expect to have some more of those hopefully later this year. But Vascugenics is our success story so far, and we're very proud of some of the work that we've done, and we try and share that as much as possible as they continue to grow.
That's amazing. And I think several of us on the call are familiar with Vascugenics and know their story. So that's exciting. And we look forward to seeing them continue to grow. That's a huge story and a huge win for Arkansas. There was another question that came to mind. So if you're an investor, an accredited investor within this organization, what kind of time commitment is there? And this can go to Cory or whoever wants to respond there. What kind of time commitment is it once you're a part of this alliance?
So I'd like to jump in on that one, Ashley. You can spend as much or as little as makes sense for you. Most of our members are not full-time investors. Like, they have another job that's really their full-time job. So they're not going to spend all their working hours involved in looking at angel deals. So we do ask that you get involved in due diligence on the deals that you're interested in. That just kind of makes sense. We really appreciate it when people are willing to get involved in committees and help find other members to join us, or spend time reviewing deals that apply to us. That helps a lot in our selection. But it's entirely up to you. We're not going to come find you if you don't jump in and help. We won't revoke your membership because.
Good to know. Cory, did you want to expand on that at all?
No, I'll just say when we started, I had quite a bit of time to engage, and I engaged on a couple of deals, but my company does a lot of COVID response work, and we've gotten overwhelmed. And so the last few months, my involvement's been pretty limited. I attend when I can, but still always get the information. If I get a few minutes and can go through the deals, I get that opportunity. So I agree. It's as much or as little as is available.
And we've had another question come up talking about the types of companies that are invested in. Is it tech specific? Is it only tech? What types of companies?
No, it's not tech specific. Like I said, we look at a variety of verticals, so it doesn't have to necessarily be a tech company or even a tech enabled company. We have a variety of companies that come through, and that's really the beauty of it. And we want that. We want to provide investment opportunities from a variety of different areas for our members. We have certain members that may prefer a tech company, and that's where the beauty of the individual investment decisions come from. So if there are members that feel comfortable investing in tech or in medical devices, they have those opportunities. Or if we have members that aren't so interested in those deals, we kind of move with the direction of the membership. And as we continue to grow and add new members, that may change. We may see a preference towards tech companies develop over time, depending on the makeup of our membership, or we may see our membership go in a different direction. And so that's why we, hope to just provide at this early stage, a variety of different deals. And then we, depending on those companies, drill in on which ones, we really want to bring to the membership that they really want to see.
Mm-hmm. And another question that came up was, are all of the companies that are looking to be invested in, do they all have to be from Arkansas? And also from an investor perspective, do all the investors live in Arkansas?
That's a great question. So no, they don't. Alese mentioned this earlier. If we come across deals that we feel like are beneficial to the membership, or would be of interest to the membership, we invite those to apply the same way we invite the Arkansas affiliated deals. We try and give preference to Arkansas-based deals. That's where a lot of our investors' interest is in investing in Arkansas-based companies, but we don't pass up on a good deal just because it's not affiliated with us. And then same thing from an investor standpoint. Where, if there are outside investors groups outside the state of Arkansas that are interested in investing with Ark Angel Alliance or participating in the group, so they have access to Arkansas-based deal flow, we're absolutely open to talking with them and bringing them in. Most of our investors right now are based in Arkansas because that's where our point of interest is, but there's nothing to say we can't invite other investors. We have a couple that are based outside of Arkansas.
So good to know. All are welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Another question came up. It was talking about group membership. They asked if you have to be an actual organization. I would assume that means like a company organization, or can it be a group of friends that qualify as a group?
We ask that they be a group or an organization. So investing as an entity. So, there may be, we've had VC funds and other, interested parties that they want to have, 4 members sit on membership. And so we kind of give them a group discount because of that. So it's an entity-based membership versus an individual-based membership.
Gotcha. Let's see if there's another question that came through. Here's one. So long-term goals of Ark Angel Alliance, where do you see, this is, all hypothetical, what does success look like for the Ark Angel Alliance in the next year, 5 years, and ongoing?
Alese, do you want me to take that one, or do you want to take that one?
Let's both jump in on it.
Okay.
From my perspective, I would like to see membership at least 4 times what we have now. I want to see us like the Texas, the Dallas area Angel Group. I would like to see us get closer to 150 or more members. I would like to see our organization be highly representative of our community, and so that, they match in diversity perspective our applicants. And I want to see us become the premier place to apply for funding when a company is ready in the state of Arkansas. Grace, what would you add?
Yeah, I think, Alese and I have had a lot of conversations around this. So we're of course aligned on where we see the organization going, and really our goal in growing that membership is, there's a lot of reasons we want to grow that membership number. Is one, the more members we have, the more deals we're able to see, the more deals we're able to fund, but also, I think Cory mentioned the breadth of people that we have in the membership. They also bring their outside experience to our due diligence processes and to our evaluation of companies. And so as we continue to grow the membership, we continue to grow the diversity of the people we bring in and their experiences. We're able to do a better job of due diligence. We're able to lean on their experience and to continue to grow and introduce more people that, maybe they have experience in other areas, but they're not, experienced investors. We're growing that investor knowledge, that investor muscle, and then leaning on their, outside experience to help benefit the due diligence process. There's a lot of ways to benefit the due diligence process that don't require necessarily being a previous investor, because you can bring a lot of outside knowledge. So that growing the group so that we can, really be a premier place for entrepreneurs to seek investment, so that we're, able to fund even more companies, because our investors, there's a limited capacity of investment that they can make at this time. But if we continue to grow the group, we will always have a little bit limited capacity, but hopefully it'll be a little bit more unlimited than it is now.
And I would like to add one more thing that occurred to me. We don't want to be a group of investors who only live in Central Arkansas or only live in the Fayetteville, Springdale, Bentonville corridor. We want to have members from all over the state. That's really important. I don't want people who are in the Delta to feel like they're being left out. We're Zoom based right now, so it's not like you have to travel, and we will want to find ways to be inclusive even when COVID is over.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can kind of have some diversity regionally as well across the state. We have members that are from Northeast Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, Central Arkansas, a couple from the South Arkansas area, but we definitely want to grow those and not be centric to, only investors in the Central Arkansas area, or to at least this point Northwest Arkansas. That's important to us. So really just growing our investor network so that we can grow the number of investments in entrepreneurs here. So when you boil it down.
Yeah,
absolutely. And when, that's a great point to make. And those that are, whether you're watching here on Zoom or on Facebook, we see several accredited investors. They all have friends, right? Live in different parts of the state, live in different states. And so maybe the ask there is, if you know somebody that may be interested, feel free to point them in the Ark Angel Alliance's direction, so we can help get the word out about this. Because the biggest thing is awareness. If you don't know about it, you don't know that this is even an opportunity. So we want to help engage those folks and make sure they're aware of this. But you've done quite a bit in the year that you've been around. So kudos to you guys. Thanks for this initiative and opening this up to a lot of folks. I want to give a last minute to audience questions. So if anybody has a question or a comment, feel free to unmute yourself. You can ask your question or throw it in the chat, and then I'll check Facebook as well.
Hey, Ashley, thanks to Grace and Alese, and also James and Cory for joining us today on this lunch and learn. I did have a chance to eat my lunch while I was learning, so that was very good. Hot dogs from Salen's in Buffalo. If you've never had them, they're extraordinary. Anyway, part of being home for lunch. What I also wanted to emphasize, and I think Cory touched on this a little bit, and Grace as well, is the folks that are part of this alliance. This is not their first rodeo by any means. And many of these people are very seasoned at this process. Again, as we reflect on James having started Funds for Arkansas's Future, what, James, 20 years ago at this point, and having made just one investment after the other that has been quite strong. While this is a high risk opportunity in most instances, you do what you can do and what you want to do, but the opportunity to learn here from others who have done this and done this successfully is extraordinary. So while the Angel Alliance is new, it's built on a foundation of some real strong knowledge and understanding, and I think that's a particularly great opportunity. You don't have to figure this out on your own. You can tap somebody on the shoulder who will help mentor you and give you the appropriate guidance to make some interesting investments. The other point I wanted to make too that I think is important is, and Grace and Alese, maybe you can speak to this a little bit, is the opportunities for some level of syndication moving forward, that we will look beyond the boundaries of Arkansas for deal flow as well. So maybe you can speak to that.
No, that's a great point there. And we've been building relationships with angel networks kind of across our region and across the nation, really. We've had some meetings with some on the West and East Coast, leaning on some of their knowledge as they've grown their networks, but also, talking to them about what deals they're seeing. So a few of the deals that we have brought in that have been from outside the state have come from partner organizations, partner angel networks that are outside of Arkansas, of course. When they see something interesting, we're able, they bring it to us and we can bring it to the group if it's of interest, which also allows us to be able to help these entrepreneurs fulfill their rounds. So we're hopeful that as we build those bridges, as we see interesting Arkansas-based companies, we can do the same, pitch it out to some other angel networks to help them, one, fulfill their round, and then two, to have that reciprocal back and forth relationship for deal flow. So those are great points, Wayne.
Yeah, thank you for that. I attend a women's network that's affiliated with the Angel Capital Association, and frequently I see things there that are interesting, and we invite the application to come pitch for us, or at least apply. And on a couple of occasions, we've helped people that we didn't invest connect up with some of the other angel associations, especially the one in New Orleans.
Yeah, if I could piggyback on Wayne's comment there, appreciate that, Wayne. I think just to get a chance to brag a little bit about what this opportunity looks like, we ran some fintech funds versus the network fund. You put the money in, and then the fund managers decide who they invest in it. But a number of these fintechs come into the Venture Center Accelerator. We've had 2 or 3 already present to Ark Angel Alliance, and I think we'll find a number more of those. But one of those fintechs, we just exited the invested in that, and there was it returned 75 times the amount of money that we invested in it. So those are, that's an exception, obviously, but those kind of opportunities are out there. And, the folks that had put money in that return in that fund got significant distributions here last month. So that's the kind of opportunity angel investing gives to you.
Wayne, did you have any other points?
No, thanks. No, I do. I do think we think it's a great privilege to be aligned with the Angel Alliance because of the work that we do as an entrepreneurial service organization. And if you got customers, that's the first thing you got to do. Once you get customers, then you got to get some cash, right? So it's great to have a place to go. It's a hard process to do well, and you got a brilliant group of people, surrounding this effort, and really some pretty awesome deal flow. I mean, The Venture Center just on the FinTech program alone will probably bring about 20 or 30 companies to bear per year for the Angel Alliance's consideration. So we're excited about that as we continue to try to bring companies into Arkansas. As James mentioned, we've just had a very significant exit from one of our first-year companies who, ultimately ended up doing business with one of our clients in a big way, who was FIS. So we're doing, I think, an extraordinary job of de-risking those companies coming into the state through the processes that we put to play. So we tend to really, again, de-risk and help limit some of that exposure as we look at the risk. And we see that's part of how we measure our success in terms of the work that we're doing there. But, we also care about a lot more than just FinTech, which is just bringing and establishing great businesses in our state and making great investments. And this will create opportunities that, like Alese has mentioned, certainly jobs, economic return. And, look, we got a governor who's dedicated to building the tech center in this state, and we see that in his everyday efforts. And a legislature who's committed to that as well. And people like James, who made things like the accelerator grant available, which helps to fund what we do along with our partners. So a lot of strong energy around this stuff. And it's time. It's time for Arkansas. It's time for the folks in Arkansas to get behind this sort of an effort and take advantage of the opportunities that come along with it.
Excellent point, Wayne. Alese, did you have a comment?
I did. I was sitting in a class the other day, and they said that the whole goal of angel investing is to help create wealthy entrepreneurs. And along the way, the investors create wealth for themselves too. So that's what we're always looking to do, is create wealth on both sides of the equation.
That's a great point. And there was another question that came through the chat, a question of, is angel investment a long-term strategy? So is it a long game or a short game?
It's a long game.
It's a long game for sure. We actually, one of our first, Alese mentioned Nelson Gray, a UK angel investor, came and spoke to the group and, was talking about exit strategy and exit potential and kind of some of the research they've done around that. And, it's a long game. But it also, diversifying your portfolio is, important. And that's why, James touched on that a little bit, making sure that you're doing, a significant number of investments, but smaller investments, so you're kind of putting a lot of eggs in a lot of baskets, hoping for the long game overall. There's some strategy there. And so that's a lot of discussions that we have is around, how are people structuring their angel investment portfolio, and then how are they structuring their overall portfolio? It's a high risk investment, but it's also, you're getting access to an asset class that can diversify your overall investment portfolio. So
good to know. And with that, I think we've answered all the questions from the chat and Facebook. I want to turn it over to our panelists for any last comments or points to make to our audience participating today.
I just thank you guys for the opportunity to talk about what's rapidly becoming my favorite subject. And I'm glad to see so many of you here today. So thank you for spending time with us.
Yes, and thank you to Ashley and Wayne and Mimi and Annalise and the whole Venture Center team and the opportunity to talk to you guys today. It's been great, and thank you to Alese and Cory too for joining us on the panel and sharing their perspective and insights. It's been a fun conversation, and I echo Alese. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. There's a lot of opportunity, and we're excited to grow.
We're going to have you back again, so don't think this is the last time.
Oh, we'll do it again right now. I love talking. I can talk about this all day.
I'm sure everybody has another Zoom meeting after this one. So
probably so. We'll delay.
Actually does. Don't let her kid you.
I know Grace stays busy as well as you, Alese, as well. So and Cory. So.
We're about to do a deep dive on one of our applicants.
Yes, we are.
I was unable to make last night's. And Grace was kind enough to get me the recording. I for the first time I had some internet connectivity issues and I couldn't stay engaged. It was tough, but I don't know if it was the weather or what the problem was. The first time I've had that issue, but thanks for looking out for me. So
that's this virtual world we're living in. Happens to the best of us.
It is indeed. It is indeed. So.
Well, folks, I think that about wraps it up. We hope that your questions were answered. We hope you'll take another look at Ark Angel Alliance if it's something you're interested in. We've posted the link to their website here in the chat. It's also on Facebook. And when we send out the e-blast, we'll promote it there as well. big thank you to Grace and Alese and Cory and James for their insight and helping to understand the new Ark Angel Alliance and answer questions as it relates to angel investing. Also want to give one last shout out to our sponsors, Wright Lindsay Jennings, Frost Accounting Firm, Simmons Bank, and the Little Rock Regional Chamber. Like I said, feel free to learn more at the Ark Angel Alliance. James actually just posted the link down there. And also check out the Venture Center's website for any additional programs related to entrepreneurship and workforce development. We hope to see you all again soon. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.